talking with children about divorce, part of the series Protecting Children in Family Battles with Monika Perkowska. This is our topic for today.
Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and podcast by instantmediations.com, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact dependent.
Hello and welcome. My name is Natalia Łowska-Czajka and I am an advocate and mediator in Warsaw, Poland, as well as certified Supreme Court of Florida family mediator.
Hi, everyone. This is Mac attorney, mediator, arbitrator, working throughout Florida and Texas.
Hi, I'm Monika Perkowska. I'm a psychotherapist, psychologist, working with children and their parents. Every day, I help families to have better relationships.
And thank you, Monika, for joining us again. That's been a pleasure before, where we were talking about our first episode with you, how to protect children in family battles, when you made very important comments and points. We wanted to expand on that and create a series where we will be discussing really how to best protect children in the family battles. Of course, being professionals, we would absolutely want to avoid any battles when it comes to children. This is why we are peacemakers and mediators as well as attorneys. However, sometimes it's inevitable, and unfortunately, we see children when their parents are divorcing or splitting or going through separation, and unfortunately, the parents are fighting. So the child remains in the middle. The thing is, therefore, how we are going to approach the child. What's the proper approach? Do we just pretend nothing is happening, or should parents talk to children about the divorce? And if yes, what should they plan to tell?
Thank you for inviting me again, and I'm really enjoyed that we are talking about children's problem. And telling children about divorce is difficult, but it's an important conversation to have. As a parent, you maybe your first instinct is, to protect your children, but be cautious not to burden them with unnecessary details. The discussion should be an opportunity for the parents to be a source of support and comfort the child. Child, he or she experienced this crisis. So first of all, I want to say that one of the most difficult, painful conversation it is. And we are agreed that separating or divorcing is a process, and it's a parent's role to have this important conversation. And of course, we need to imagine how upsetting it would be to hear it from a friend or another adult to child. It's so important that you will talk to your kids before they hear it from someone else. And children will probably remember this conversation, what you say, where they hear it, when they hear it, and it would be best to work with your spouse to decide how you will inform them. So plan together, I think, and agree on what you will say. So divorce can be particularly challenging for children, so it's important to communicate, keep them, make them feel secure. And I think it's so important. Yes, you need to make a good plan, especially if your child is highly sensitive. So, it's a serious discussion, and it could be difficult, but it's so important. You have to do it.
So I know, Monica, I do divorces for a living as well as Natalia. We are, frequently seeing just the ugly side. Sometimes when parents just tear into each other, they don't get along at all in a divorce. That's a given. But although some divorces, I would say, are rather amicable, I've seen that as well. But when parents disagree and they blame each other, okay, when they are viciously blaming each other, sometimes that can tear a child up and impact the child. How does the blame game affect a child?
Oh, I see it in my practice too. So, it's so important. Avoid the temptation to assign blame or say whose fault this is. Um, for children is a like a disaster. It's a harmful thing. You may feel that you want your children to know the truth, subjective truth. For example, dad had an affair or mom is leaving us or something like that. And this will cause your children to feel caught in the middle in the loyalty bind. And it's not healthy for them. A subjective truth is less important that, providing the support and protect to your children need. And I think it's so important that you can use we word when you explain the decisions that have been made. And for example, we aren't happy together, we both want our arguing to stop, we love you very much. So blaming, it's so harmful, and it's important to develop a non-blaming narrative. So for me, it's a emotional, damage disaster for children when they see that parents are blaming to each other.
Mm.
And expanding on that, I want to ask you an additional question. Sometimes, really, people ask me in which environment to do that. So they ask me, so should we really go together for a pizza with children? And to my intuitive response was, if I was this child, I would probably be choking immediately when I was to eat a pizza and to learn that
Yes.
my parents are divorcing. So I do believe it's also a matter of choosing the appropriate environment, but also the appropriate words. And tell us what you would recommend, how to do that, where, which moment, before we go to the court, after we go to the court, in the middle.
It depends on situation, on the parents, of course, and that they are mm, they have arguments or not here. But for me to plan to tell them, it's on a day that allows for some family time, for example, like a weekend, not in restaurant or something like that. And it's don't that it just before school or bedtime or during holiday or other special day. It's a difficult situation, and it should be done in family time and at home. It could be safe for children, not for you. I think that sometimes parents want to protect themselves, not children. So for me, I know that it's extremely difficult to speak, but um, the, it's so important to control your emotions and be for your children. And for me, it's so important that you should tell all of your kids at the same time too. So at home, at the same time, parents should sit with all of their children at once. You can reduce the chance of any false narratives, and this also helps prevent children from comparing with their siblings themselves, and it could be safer for them. So of course you need to talk at home, not in a special day. So be so, how to say, very calm for your children.
Mm. So, what about, I guess, the truth question? You kind of hinted on this earlier, but um, how, like, does a parent have a duty to tell the whole truth? Uh, Especially if the child is really young, and then how does one go about it if they feel like, look, the child has to know everything? I'm like, are there things you should hold back on and not share?
Mhm. I think that, blaming is harmful, and we need to say something like, parents can divorce each other, but they never divorce their kids. So we are parents all the time, and we are for you. We love you, and we as a parent should see and fix, our new relationships at maybe new homes, and uh, I think that the most important thing is to say something like, "We hope this would never happen, but we can't seem to fix our relationship. And it is our fault, not your fault," because children, especially the smallest one, they have some things like, I am, maybe it's my fault, maybe I was naughty child or something like that, and it's our role to be so calming, I think. And It's so important that, we say that we are, parents together, we love you very much, and our subjectively truth is not important now, because your emotions should be the most important for us as a parent.
And having said that, I do believe that there is like a set of information the children should get about the divorce. And I bet you, as a child psychologist, know better what it should be. But I think that it should be something about the process and the environment and something about the future. Because I think it must be important for the children to know what they can expect. For example, where will I live? Uh, will you be still seeing me? Will we be having vacations together? And I understand that a part of this sort of a conversation might embrace certain questions from children.
Yes, yes. I think so important is, today I use important, 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 but I think it's so, so important to be very, to see sensitively of our children. And it's important that kids want to know is how your divorce is going to affect their lives. And, your kids will want to know where they are going to live, with whom, what about their lives is going to change. You can help your children to be prepared for these changes by being honest, about what you know and what you don't know too, because in every time you can't know everything. So maybe some things depends on court or your mediation process. And sometimes we can say, I know that something and I don't know something. If you and your spouse have settled on how you will share time with the kids, let them know the schedule. I think about protection them, about the things that will stay the same. For example, their school, their activities, their sports, friends, and be sure to let them know that your love for them will never change. And so it's divorce of parents, not kids.
Hmm. It was so important. Natalia and I, whenever we file for a divorce case, we've done this so many years, we see patterns in this business. And I think what we were talking about, where a child doesn't know what kind of schedule there's going to be, because let's say the child has just been made to understand that dad's leaving. Okay, dad's not going to be living there anymore. I can only imagine how difficult that is, what kind of a gut punch that is for a child to not know. They might be told, yeah, your father loves you, I'll see you soon, but it could feel almost like a loss, like a death. You you had a certain stability with your mom and dad. Okay, you knew who was going to be home when, what their work hours were, and but then all of a sudden you don't know when this person's going to come back, and you understand that it's because the the two parents dislike each other now. It's because they have conflicts, and so I can only imagine what a child might be going through. And I think as a child myself, I had a little bit of this at one point in time. But I'm blessed my parents stayed together and they're still together for all these years after many, many decades. But in this business, because we see the pattern over and over and over again, I think the thing we're telling parents out there who might be watching this is, listen, your children need the stability. They need to know that if dad is leaving, he's still gonna come on his schedule. He's still gonna come and take you off of ice cream and off of pizza. Like nothing's gonna change in terms of relationship just because the parents are not getting along. And I think really so when we talk about talking, to the children about topics, I totally agree with you that it needs to be done in a way that where you bring the kids together, where you reach the kids together as a team, so that you can make them feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it like secure, right? Is it that you want the child to feel stabilized, that the ground is not being pulled off from under their feet? I mean, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents, because I see how much it tears kids up in this business, and so that's what parents need to do. Take it very seriously. But yeah, you can share anything you'd like on that, Monica.
Hmm. Yes, I think this helps maintain a stability, and it's
Yep.
so important for children, safe relationships with mom and dad. And it's like we are still a family under two roofs, and parents should always explain which parent will be staying in the house and which parent will be moving out and what is the schedule. Of course, when we know it or we plan to know it. And, respect is a maybe keyword, respect to each other, mom and dad, because it is so harmful and could be traumatizing for children when they see argument all the time after divorce too. So I think it's so important to talk and to be, in stable emotional life inside you, because you need to be parent for your children. And I know it's so difficult, but sometimes when we should be so uh, when we want to make a sense and stability after divorce, we need to have it inside us.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I speak to parents, because being working as a lawyer or mediator, I don't see the kids themselves. But parents think that, oh, it's best that I don't tell them anything because they're too small. Oh, because this is how I protect them. And I then tell them something like, and I'm sorry, but I tell them, do you really think that your child is an idiot? Don't you really think that your child sees certain things, and the moment where you are not telling them the truth feels like you're lying to them? So they need to get certain information, otherwise, they will feel abandoned, cheated. And I wanted to ask you a question. If you can bring this to the parents' awareness, what sort of feelings is the child going through? Because
Mhm.
parents think that if they don't speak, they're saving their children certain emotions, but I don't believe they do. So what sort of emotions do children go through when they realize something is not right and the parents are arguing too much? Perhaps it's going to lead us to divorce.
I think it could be extremely anger, extremely sadness. Your child may not know how to express their intense emotions, and it will be hard for them, and they may be overwhelmed and shut down too, or be so angry. And it is normal, that completely normal, that emotions will be, but kids reactions is your problem, not only a kids problem. And if you are calm when you tell your children, of course you should tell your children about your life, about divorce, they will have less anxiety when you will tell them, are more likely to anticipate that they will be okay. And however, it is fine for the children to see you upset or cry, as it gives them permission to have feelings too. So I think it's so important to be honest and tell the truth. Of course, not your adult subjective truth about, affairs or something like that, but it is, I mean, about words especially formulated to children. And just be sure that you are able to control your emotions enough that they don't need to take care of you, because it will be a risk of parentification. I told about it in our first movie.
Of her show. Use the word again. Parentification.
Yes, parentification is, when your role is not As an adult person, you are like a child, and your child should takes care of you. So
Yeah.
it will be so harmful for emotional health, your child's emotional health, and it could cause depress.
Yeah, I've seen it before actually, where a parent shares things in a way where they become the dependent, and the child then feels like, well, I gotta protect mom, right?
Mm.
And they take a role on, the child takes a role on they shouldn't be taking on. Um, so yeah, this can become detrimental to children because look, kids just need to be kids, and they need to be protected, and shielded from a lot of that negativity. But when they're educated and they're given the truth, it needs to be given to them in a way that's healthy for their age appropriateness, not because the parent just wants to vomit out everything, that they think their kid can bear. I think kids will tolerate a lot, but they may never know how they're being damaged until they're adults themselves, until it's way too
Yes.
late. So we could talk about this all day. Obviously, it's a hard topic. It's a hard subject. I mean, who wants to talk about how to about divorce to your children? But guys, me personally, because of the business that I'm in, I've seen the negatives so much. I think we got to keep talking about this so that parents, get it that look, you can't just say anything to your kids, but when you do, you have to say it in such a way that it's actually healthy and it's supportive. All right, Monica, thank you so much
Thank you.
for your thoughts today on this topic, and we'll definitely have you back next time. And so, people who want to you know contact you, obviously they can go to your website, and that your website's right on your name, monikaperkowska.com. But if you're listening to this on Spotify or Google Podcasts or whatever, just be sure to check out the YouTube version so you can watch us if you'd like. All right, guys, that's it. Until next time, we'll see you later.
See you
See
next
you.
time. Bye bye.